goes. Page 6, pine cone rag. Now this piece actually is pretty straightforward. Rhythm-wise, it's just a bunch of eighth notes, and you're going to play them evenly because it's a ragtime piece. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If the tie's messing you up, take the tie out temporarily and just play all the notes. Notes, and then when you can do that, put the tie back in. You think playing the second note, but you're hanging on to the other one. Pretty straightforward. However, I do have some fingering suggestions for you in the right hand. Now on measure 5, it's fine with their fingering, but then I recommend on measure 6 to go ahead and just use a 4th finger there if you can, and then move your hand because it's staccato. But if you'd rather use the thumb, see, the thumb puts you in position for the next one, but it's staccato. So it's up to you. When do you move your hand? However, on the 3rd and 4th beat of this measure, I have a problem with 3rd finger there because you need 3rd finger again and here, 2 notes down. Now again, it's staccato. You can move the hand down. Now, this is going to kind of move. It's not a real fast piece, but it's going to move. So you can. I suggest a little more advanced fingering, but you can learn to do it eventually. On the 3rd and 4th counts of measure 6, you're here. I recommend on that last count, on that G, use the little finger again. You got to learn to do this. So just as. And that puts you in position for that one. Again, well, every time I get this figure, I'm going to use 5-4-5. I get it on measure 8 at the end, and then on measure 10, they're saying 1-2-1. That's fine if that's what you want to do. So if I take measures 9 and 10, I got that. Then under, it's okay. You don't have to do it that way. You can use the 4th on the first beat or the first note on measure 10, and then you could do the 2-3-5. So take it real slow. Measures 9 and 10. Not changing anything in measure 9. We're just getting into measure 10. Then I do a 4-2. That's fine. Or here 4, and then it's either a 3 or a 2, and then a 1. That works too. You got a choice of the kind of fingering you want to use, and experiment with all of them and see what you think is work. So I can go their fingering, and measure 10 is 1-2-1. I'm saying you can go a 4-2-3-5, or you can do a 4-3-1-3. It's up to you. Now on measure 15, that's a good fingering. Use what they're suggesting, because that leads you in. All right. Watch the fingering on measures 17 and 18. On measure 20, they're all staccatos, but I like a 2 and then a 2-3, not a 2-1, but a 2-3, and then a 1-5. To me, they're using thumb there, and you don't need to. You can go here. Now the rest of their fingering is fine. I have no suggestions. That's fine. Now over on page 8, down measure 33, they're saying 1 through and then 3. That's okay. I like 4-5 instead of 3-5 because again we're at this chord and that's fingering for the chord, so that's just typically what I would use when I see it and it's like a broken chord. And then I would use 2 and 4 for this 2 quarter notes. Don't have to, but that's how I would. And then on the next measure, again, I'd use a 4/5 for that one, because this is the chord and that's the fingering for the chord, so that's what I use. At the bottom of the page, on page 8, the last measure, here, here, and for the last chord, I recommend a 2-3-5. Because again, we're down here, and I'm just kind of going from here to here, except I'm leaving out the C. And so that's fingering that I usually use. You can use their fingering, there's nothing wrong with it. Now on the left hand, it's pretty straightforward. If you can figure out all those chords, that's great, because it comes in handy, you gotta play them in. Starting on measure 5, though, watch the fingering. That is a 3 on the C, because you're in this position to start with, and then on measure 8, that's a 3, and then thumb can play the 2 top notes. The last 2 measures on page 6, you kind of, this is another way you're going to run into, so you just want to learn to do it. It's on the last measure, it's a 5, and you're used to using 3 here, but you're coming off of this one. And we want to figure it in a way we can feel that, so we just use 5 for that one, and then you can come down. But then at the top of page 7 on measure 14, use 3 again on the C. And then the next measure, you got to use 5. So use their fingering, it's fine. Now at the bottom of page 8, in the coda, especially the last measure, you pretty much got to memorize the last measure, but it's just a 1-5-7 chord and a 1 chord. It's a 1-5-1, right? It's a C chord, 5-7 chord, and then a C chord again. You pretty much got to memorize it because your hands are moving and you got to look down at the keyboard, but it shouldn't be hard to memorize, I would hope, for you. So yeah, actually memorize the whole thing and help. That way you don't have to deal with the page turn, because when we do the play with me, I'm going to stop and turn the page and count us in again for page 8. But when you're playing for somebody or playing it for real, you can't do that. The beat's got to be right there. So what do? How do you get the page turn going in? And there's 2 page turns, because when you get to the bottom of page 8, there's a DS out coda, and the sign for the DS is over at the beginning of page 5. So now you got to turn back here. So how do you do this? Well, unfortunately, because the left-hand staccato, the pedal isn't, you can't use pedal to help you out, so you're pretty much going to have to leave out notes. There's just no help. Both hands are just really busy all the time. Now we have to have the melody, so you can't leave out the melody. That means you got to leave out the other hand. So you leave out however much you have to in the left hand to get that page turned. But when you get to the top of page 8, make sure you're there and that beat is right there. So if you can do it in 2 counts, great. If not, you may have to use the whole measure, the last measure, with just the right hand, and then turn it. Now when you've done it the second time and you're ready to go to the coda, see the sign for the coda is between measures 18 and 19. So here, it's your choice. How fast can you turn the page? If you could turn it real quick, then you could play that C sharp A in the right hand like a staccato, and then turn the page right quick while your left hand does the beat. Otherwise, you hang on to the right hand and leave out the left hand however much you got to turn the page. Otherwise, you get somebody to turn the page for you. That works too. Now, at the bottom of page 8, when you get down to the sign and you need to go back, you got the same kind of problem. What do? Well, again, you have to have the right hand. Can't leave that out. So you may have to leave out the notes in the left hand in order to get the page turned back. It's just one of the things we have to deal with in piano when we play and we have page turns. Otherwise, you memorize it. Now, when we do the play with me, I'm not going to do the DS part. We're just going to play pages 6 and 7, and we're going to stop. And I'll count us in. We'll play page 8, and we get down to the bottom. I'm going to go straight into the coda. It's going to sound weird, but all we're doing is checking notes and rhythms. You can do the dynamics and all that and learn to perform it and speed it up on your own. So I'll give us 4 counts. Let's try this out. There's no pedal in this because you got a lot of staccato in the left hand, and that's interesting because now can you do staccato in one hand and legato in the other? That gets fun. I've had problems with that, but I'm getting there. Now this is in the key of C major, so the only sharps and flats are the accidentals they stick in. 1, 2, and ready and go and. Wrist. 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 Okay, turn the page, hands go here. Okay. 1, 2, and ready and go and. Wrist. Coda. Wrist. Well, it's just a typical ragtime piece. I think you'd get it if you just play the notes and the rhythms. The speed is up to you. Steady, moderate tempo. Steady means keep it at one tempo. Don't be speeding up and slowing down. Something like this, I guess.